Hello and welcome to the Shiny Bees podcast, a podcast for those who like their knitting, comedy and yarn in equally large measures. I'm your host Jo Milmine and this is episode 60. Forensic Psychobiology to Wool Emporium, an interview with Leona-Jayne Kelly of Fluph.
If that's alright, I need a drink.
Hello everybody and welcome to the show. Today is Tuesday the 18th of August 2015. How are you all? I hope you're all well since last time I spoke to you. I'm currently enjoying is probably the wrong word. Experiencing a lovely rainy day in Scotland. And actually, you know what? I'm done with summer now. Don't even pretend that it is summer. It's the middle of August and it's just horrendous. It's that horrible all-day rain that I love so much in Manchester, but here I just don't want, frankly. So, yeah, it's pretty miserable here and quite cold. So I've got some nice warm soup, some roasted vegetable soup that I've just made. Got my thermals and my fleece on. And this is not what I thought August was all about, frankly. So, you know what? Let's just dispense with this illusion that pretends to be summer and just crack straight into autumn. Because I'm done. I'm done waiting and being left wanting, shall we say. A warm welcome to any new listeners that are joining me today. I hope you'll enjoy what you find here. Clearly, I have to start every podcast with a bit of a weather report because I'm British. And for any returning listeners, thank you very much for joining me again. I always really appreciate you coming back and listening to the show. So today, what do I have for you? I have a couple of notices to start with, and then I have an interview with Leona-Jayne Kelly of Fluph, my favourite yarn shop in Dundee. So get yourself a brew of some description, something warming. It's got to be about time when that pumpkin spice latte stuff starts getting pushed out, hasn't it? You American types, you like that, don't you? Apparently this is going to be the first year that they've put actual pumpkin in it in the Starbucks ones. It's not for me. It's not for me. More Starbucks is not for me. All Starbucks is not for me, to be honest. I don't drink coffee. But I know a lot of you guys do. And that, you know, it feels autumnal. I'm just going to press straight into autumn. I'm going to skip the rest of August and just be autumnal about everything. And we will crack on with the show. Yarn in the City creates experiential, yarn-centric events for knitters and makers designed to bring people together through a shared love of craft. Yarn in the City organises the Great London Yarn Crawl, taking place on Saturday the 5th of September 2015. For more information and to book your tickets, go to www.yarninthecity.com today. So yarny news then. As always, we start off the podcast with a few parish notices and afterwards we'll get into the interview. So first up, my favourite subject du jour is the UK Podcasters Awards. Thank you very much to everyone who's voted so far and everyone who's tweeted about it. I really appreciate it. For those of you that may be joining me for the first time today or are catching up in a reverse manner, the podcast has been nominated in 2 categories in the UK Podcasters Awards. These will be presented on the 12th of September 2015 and I am in the category for Games and Hobbies and Most Engaged Audience, which is you guys. So I'd really appreciate it if you had 5 minutes to go and vote for the podcast or to share it again if you've already voted and you can't vote again. Top tip, if you change IP addresses, you can vote again, as I found out. Because my husband's been playing with the router a lot recently. Go over to the website, which is www.shinybees.com/UK-podcasters-awards. And if you click on the graphic in there, it'll take you straight to the page that you need to be at. There'll also be a link in the show notes. There's a link on Ravelry. And I'll remind everyone on social media this week as well. It would be awesome to win an award for the podcast, for you guys in particular. I just think I have a great audience. I'm very lucky. I might not have the world's biggest audience, but you are small, but you are mighty. And it would be great to be able to celebrate that and get an award, because it's got a star on top of it, I think. which would be kind of cool because I really like stars. So that's where you can go to vote for the podcast in those awards. Now, obviously, I undertook a mammoth challenge as my part of the bargain in return for your votes, and that was to knit something beaded and fabulous, basically, to wear to the awards ceremony. So even if we don't win, and we're a little bit sad about that, never fear, because the silver lining will be I will still have my beaded and fabulous shawl, so it won't really matter. So as I mentioned last time, it is a Boo Knits pattern, and if you're a fan of fancy looking shawls that are not difficult to knit, Boo Knits is your girl. Go check her out. And I'm knitting it in two strands of dye for yarn, mulberry silk, 100% silk, fine lace weight, held double, and I'm really enjoying it. I really like it. I took it to the pub last week and knitted on it in the pub. I never thought I'd get to the point where I could knit on a beaded silk shawl in the pub whilst having a very, very fringe conversation about various things which will not make it into this episode because I have a clean rating, and managing not to snort. And well, I did snort a couple of times laughing, but not that wasn't about dirty stuff. That was about tattoos of swallows on hands. It's like a thing. It's like a northern thing where people have tattoos of swallows on their hands. It's just something I really remember from being a kid. If anyone else remembers tattoos of swallows on hands from being a kid, then let me know. Along with love and hate across the knuckles, that was also a thing that generally accompanied the tattooed hand. Let me know, because I don't think it was just me. I don't think I'm the only northern person that noticed this. I don't have any tattoos whatsoever, but we got onto that as one of the subjects, and I did snort at the swallow tattoo because I knew my friend would find it hilarious, because it's a thing, it's a northern thing. But I managed not to put my beads anywhere, and did some proper full-on beaded lace knitting in the pub. Not one mistake. I'm really proud of myself. So it's progressing nicely, and the rows are getting much longer now. So I'm only getting sort of 3 or 4 done a night by the time I actually sit down to it. So what I might need to do is schedule in some cheeky rows at break times and lunch times during the day, just to build up that row count and get through chart B. I think I've only got probably one more repeat of the chart B stuff to do, because you have to carry on until you get to 201 stitches or whatever it is, and then I'll be away. But I'm absolutely loving it, and loving the beads that you guys helped me pick on Periscope. They look beautiful, so I'm very excited to be working on that. It's really good fun. So keep an eye out on Instagram. I'll try and post a picture every night. If I've knitted on it, I'll post a picture. Obviously, sometimes it will be a bit more changed than others, and let you know how I get on. And I'm hoping to finish that obviously before the 12th, because that'd be pretty emosh, wouldn't it? Because I need to get it blocked and sorted out, basically, and paired up with a lovely outfit, no doubt. So UK Podcasters Awards, I will remind you again at the end of the episode, because we're going to chat about all kinds of stuff in the meantime. Go ahead and go over to shinybees.com, where you can find all the details to cast your vote. Next up, there's a bit of chat about public appearances. I do live up in the sticks, in the middle of nowhere, and occasionally I escape and go to shows. And I'm going to be at 2 shows in September, and if you're going to be there as well, please come over. I'll start some threads in the group. Please come over and let me know you're going to be there, because I would love to say hello to you in real life. I really enjoy meeting listeners, and it would be wonderful to put a face to a name, because so many of you appear to be cats in your avatars or other various things, and when I meet you in real life, it's always surprising that you're not in fact feline, and you are a person. And it would be really cool to meet as many of you as possible. I really enjoy it. And so if you're going to be at Great London Yarn Crawl, I'm going to be there. I'm not going to crawl. I made the executive decision to not crawl, mostly because I'm a bit scared of London, and I'm going to help out on P-Hop in the marketplace instead. So you'll be able to find me there for most of the day. I'm going to be there with lovely Kate's Twirl, and Poke to Goblin. Alice is going to be there too, and a few other peeps are going to be knocking around. So come there to have a chat with me. And there is a breakout area, I think, that's going to be available for people just to chill out and get a bit of downtime and have a sit down and have a bit of a knit. And I'll look to be there probably around 1 o'clock, so that if people want to come and find me there instead, then you can do. Also, I'm going to be at Yarndale. I wasn't sure I was going to go because it's not my favourite show, as I think I've said to you guys before. But I kind of have to. It's work. So I am going to Yarndale. I'm going to be there on both days, and they won't provide an area for us to meet up because we've asked them before. So what I will plan to do is to be outside probably, having a picnic on the lawn around lunchtime, and I will let you know plans about that nearer the time. And again, it would be lovely to meet as many of you as possible. Last year I had a lovely lunchtime with Linda and her mum, and they brought me mini Jaffa cakes. It was the most amazing thing ever. I was so happy. I was so happy about these mini Jaffa cakes. It just reminded me of being a kid. It was brilliant. I loved it. And we had a lovely natter, and they showed me all the stuff they'd bought, and it was really, really good fun to have lunch with them. So I will be there as well. And again, it would be great to meet as many of you as possible if you're going to be at Yarndale, and obviously have a look at what you're buying. That would be really cool. And finally, possibly the coolest thing to have happened in my podcasting career so far. I realise this is framing it in a pretty grand way, but I think this is really cool. So I got a random message on Facebook the other day, and people don't usually send me messages on Facebook because I don't do a lot of stuff for the podcast on Facebook because I don't really like Facebook. As a rule, I tend to be more on Twitter and Instagram. But I've been, I cross-post things to Facebook, and I'm getting better at being on there because it's a really big platform, and I know that I do need to be on there, really. I just need to embrace rather than fight the Facebook. And I got a lovely message from a lady called Marie. Now, Marie, you're going to like this story, is now a podcast listener. Marie is also now not only a knitter, but a sock knitter, because she wasn't actually a knitter when she started listening. In the States in particular, if you've got a newer car, you get Stitcher radio built into your car, and you can listen to, they'll recommend certain podcasts. If you listen to one sort of podcast, they will put things in that they think you will like. And so she accidentally one day ended up listening to the podcast, decided I was charming, and stuck around and started to knit socks because of it. So she started to knit and started to knit socks. And she's knitted her first pair of socks, first ever project, pair of socks, and they're dead neat. She sent me pictures, they're dead neat. Anyway, getting to the point of the story, we need the hive mind because I'm not as up on my US commercial yarns as I probably could be. And we were talking about her knitting for her kids, and I recommended West Yorkshire Spinners, which I don't think is that freely available in the States yet. So what we're looking for is some recommendations, please. So in the thread for this episode, if you have any recommendations for good quality with a wool content, workhorse yarns that are great for knitting for kids, then please come over and put them in the show notes and give you recommendations so that Marie can come find them and come meet all of you guys. Because I just think that's really cool. It's a really cool story. I love it. I love the enabling. So yeah, hello Marie and welcome, and thank you very much for getting in touch with me. I do really appreciate it. That definitely made me smile. So I think it's about time we got on with the interview, and I am delighted to welcome the lovely Leona-Jayne Kelly from Fluph to the show. You will have heard and seen Fluph mentioned and around before. It was my local yarn shop in Dundee, and possibly my favourite local, no not possibly, definitely my favourite local yarn shop ever. I am a big fan of Fluph, and I'm not going to lie to you about that because you already know that to be the case. And I really wanted to get Leona onto the show because I get contacted by so many people who want to start their own business or open a craft cafe or start dyeing yarn, and I think it's a really good thing. And you all know how much I love to encourage people to experiment and try things, and how much I love to bring brilliant kind of people from the industry onto the show just to repeatedly tell you to just do it and go for it, because that's all they've ever done. And I really wanted to bring Leona on because I've never had a proper wool shop owner. I've had Jess on before from Ginger Twist Studio, but she was talking more about her hand dyeing, and I thought it would be really interesting to bring on Leona, who talks about opening a shop in Dundee. It is walkable from the train station if you're passing through. I would heartily recommend it. It is uphill on the way there, but it's downhill on the way back, and that's the main thing. Dundee is full of hills, but there's very comfy sofas and there's always a brew on offer if you're going to go. I think her story is really inspiring and empowering for people who want to give these kinds of things a go, basically. So I invited her on. She's very good fun. And if you follow her on Periscope, then she quite often gives you little tours of the shop and shows you what's in the shop and what's going on, which is really cool. So without further ado, I shall introduce and bring onto the show lovely Leona, known as LJ, to the show. This episode is sponsored by Yarn in the City. Yarn in the City organises the annual Great London Yarn Crawl, which is taking place this year on Saturday the 5th of September. This year's Yarn Crawl will also feature the addition of a one-day pop-up marketplace, taking place at Chelsea Old Town Hall and featuring over 30 vendors from London and around the UK. To top off the weekend, on Sunday the 6th of September 2015, Yarn in the City will be hosting author, pattern designer and technical editor Kate Atherley for 2 workshops in central London. Introduction to knitwear design and pattern writing skills. For more information and to book your tickets to these events, head over to www.yarninthecity.com. So I am delighted to welcome lovely Leona of Fluph in Dundee, Dundee's finest yarn emporium, to the show today. Welcome, Leona.
Thanks, Jo. Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Oh no, I'm totally honoured to finally be on your podcast.
I know. It's good. I can't wait, actually. And I think it's going to be quite good fun. So, for those people that aren't maybe quite as familiar with you, Leona, can you tell us a bit about you as a person and a little bit about how you came to be interested in yarny pursuits?
Oh, I hate talking about myself. I would rather talk about anything else other than myself. But a little bit about me. Oh God, well, I'm from up north, not quite as far north as you, Jo, at the moment, but I'm from just outside Fraserburgh, so kind of in a horizontal line. Not sure if that's important. And I came down to Dundee for university, and I kind of got stuck here. I kind of fell in love with the place. I still live in Dundee with my partner and my 2 dogs. My dogs are my life. I love my dogs. I've got a Cocker Spaniel, Arthur, and I have recently acquired a Springer Spaniel called Oscar. And they are next to Yarn, they are my one true love, which is quite sad, isn't it? So yeah, how did I become interested in yarny pursuits? That's a good question. When I first moved down here for university, I was studying, this is the most ridiculous thing ever, forensic psychobiology. I know, right?
What does that even involve?
Well, it was my initial thing I wanted to do was to be a psychologist and go and work in the prisons. I really, really wanted to do that. I have no idea why. I was a little bit obsessed with serial killers. No, and I'm not joking. This is before I got my addiction to CSI and Bones and all this. I don't know what was wrong with me. But when I got to uni, I actually found out how rubbish I was at university. So I was pretty stressed, as most students are, and I decided that I would teach myself how to knit because I was falling asleep in lectures. I was so tired because of the stress. So the knitting actually kept me awake during lectures, which is bizarre. Plus, I was distracting other students by playing Super Mario on my DS, so I got in trouble for that. So it was just teaching myself how to knit. For my first birthday that I had was a knitter. My mum and dad bought me a box full of yarn, and it was all Collinette yarn, and it was all, they're nice, not hand dyed, but and I've forever been a yarn snob. I don't think I ever started working with acrylic in my life. I think my first yarn was probably Rowan, and then I moved on to Collinette, and then moved on to, God, what was the thing after that? I don't even know. I literally have never gone and bought a ball of acrylic. I'm a total yarn snob, which is terrible. Yeah. So yeah, just fell into it that way. Just try to stress bust really, and then became a little bit addicted with all the pretty that you can get out there.
Cool. Okay, so you initially started as a kind of stress busting slash way to keep you awake in lectures.
Yeah,
What
and
was
calm.
and calm, but what was the tipping point that turned what was your hobby into a business?
Well, it's a bit of a weird story actually. When I graduated from my degree in forensic psychobiology, and I was wondering what to do with myself afterwards because I was rubbish at the forensic psychobiology. And one of my friends, I had been so in it, and one of my friends was like, "Oh, you should apply to Dundee College and um, do this NQ in textiles and interiors and see how it goes." And I applied and I got in, and this was fabulous. I loved it. I loved making things with my hands, and I loved, the colors and all that stuff. And it was about this time that my dad got really ill with his cancer, and I kind of went into a deep, deep, dark hole. And one of my lecturers was really lovely, Susan. I mean, she was so lovely. I was missing classes, and she phoned me one day and asked what was wrong. And I explained, and she got me up to the college, and she says, "What do you want to do with your life?" And I was like, "I don't know. Open a wool shop." And it kind of stuck. I just kind of was like, actually, I want to open a wool shop. So I went through my NQ, my HNC, my HND in textiles. And while I was in HND, they were doing a course called I do all these really stupidly named courses. Sorry, Dundee College. I've told you this was a stupid course. Design and creativity. Wow. Which was textile art with business on the side. So I thought, perfect. I can do business. I can do my business plan. I can get started with the shop, and that's how it kind of started. It was just kind of a off the cuff remark that became into an actual reality, which is bizarre. Yeah.
Awesome. So, taking forensic psychobiology and turning it round into art and textiles and then opening a wool shop.
Yeah.
What does a typical day, I feel like I'm opening a potential can of worms here. What does a typical day look like for you?
I thought this was really difficult because um I don't want to say confined to the shop, but I obviously have my opening hours of, say 11 till 6 during the week. So, I mean, I was going to say that I get up dead early and go to the gym. That's a bit of a lie. Uh, Set my alarm to go to the gym, and I put it on snooze and go back to sleep. Uh, so yeah, we'll pretend that I go to the gym in the morning, but I get up, get into the shop. I have the two dogs with me during the week, so they need to be daundered round. Um, Open up the shop, so things like this is really mundane. Turning the computer on, putting the till on, putting the lights on, and then I open up my Asana to-do list, which Joe will be very proud of me, and I've got my list of things that I need to do for that day. Sometimes I reschedule them for other days because I'm like, I can't be bothered. Um, or, other things crop up. But usually, really bad, I take each day as it comes because it could be a scorching day outside and I have no customers. So it means I can do a bigger job like work through my taxes or um, like I was working on the website, so I could do a big chunk of the website or photographing yarn or whatever. Or it could be, a really, really busy day and I don't have 5 minutes to eat my lunch. So I'm just serving people, answering the phone, replying to emails. So yeah, it really depends. I couldn't tell you what a typical day is. Although at 2 o'clock, I do have to walk the dogs around the block because Arthur will have a little fit if he doesn't get for his afternoon pee, basically. And I drink lots of tea, maybe too much tea. But yeah.
Cool. So, normally, Leona, I would ask you about your creative process when you develop a new design or colourway. But that's not going to apply this time. So, can you tell us a little bit about your creative process when you design a new window display? Because you've had some really good window displays.
Thank you. I have a love-hate relationship with designing the windows. I don't know why. I dread thinking about them, but I will spend a long, long time, planning and trying to come up with something, and then it'll just be, oh, that's a great idea. I'll do that. I usually spend hours on Pinterest. I'm an absolute Tumblr freak, so I follow loads of knitting people on Tumblr. So sometimes, actually, like I've just decided on my Christmas window. Will I give you the exclusive on the Christmas window?
Oh, you can if you like.
The other day I was chatting with somebody about Attic 24, which I'm sure everybody's well aware of. We were talking about wreaths and things, and she has done these most beautiful wreaths for all the seasons, and I was looking at the Christmas one, which is absolutely beautiful. It's like a blue wreath with the little snowflakes, a little robin on it. And I thought, what about, I like to do everything giant. My windows tend to be giant. Like one summer we had giant ice cream cones, and what else? We had a giant, what else did we have that was giant?
You had the sheep. They were pretty big.
Oh yeah, the sheep and everything, yeah. So I'm gonna do a giant wreath that I'm going to get everybody to get involved with, to like make a little bit to stick on it, and that'll take up the big window. So yeah, normally it's just like perusing the internet and something will just kind of trigger something. I don't have a sketchbook. I don't have any method to it. Like my Socktober window is planned around it being Socktober, so it's got to be something involved in socks. I've given you the Christmas one. I'm not giving you the Socktober one. Um, Absolutely. There's always pictures, always pictures. But yeah, it just tends to be just a little flicker of inspiration, and then it manifests into itself. Usually a week before it's due to be done. So you'll find me the week before just like sitting with the crochet hook or whatever, stressing out about this window. Yeah. And it takes me a full day to change it. I don't know why. It just always does. I normally end up with a window pole in my face. Like the suspension pole that's above the window, it normally hits me in the face quite a few times. So yeah, it's not good.
You do have very big windows. I should caveat at this point that your shop is a
My
corner
house,
shop, and
it's a massive
all of the
window.
outside is windows, and then there's the door on the corner. So there's a lot of window.
Yeah, three windows, the two big windows and the skinny windows, I like to call it. But your man and my man could probably stand in it head on head, like shoulder to shoulder, and they still wouldn't fit. It's a tall window. So yeah. Yeah, who thought that was a good idea? Shop with big windows. She says, and then all the people with no windows in their shop would be like, "Oh my God, that's terrible. I'll swap you windows." Yeah.
Cool. So, no journey is ever a smooth one, and running a business has its ups and downs. Can you tell us about a time that you failed? What happened, and what did you learn as a result of it?
Well, the first thing I thought of when I read this question was the time that I answered the shop phone going, "Good afternoon, Odeon Dundee. Leona speaking. How can I help?" I realised I hadn't worked in the Odeon for about a year and a half. So that was a pretty big fail. I corrected it by not saying that the next time. And luckily it was my other half that was on the phone. So that would have been a disaster if it had been an actual customer. But in all seriousness, I was thinking about failures, and it's really hard because you come up against a failure and you kind of work through it, and then you forget about it. I have to say this summer's been really difficult. I think overcoming a lot of things this summer has been. I would see this summer. I don't want to call it a failure. That seems bad, but it has been a low point for sure. So just kind of having a good. I've really got a good support network, and I'm probably jumping into the next question, but I've got a fantastic support network around me that I can talk things through, and they'll give me hugs and bring me cake or kick me up the butt, Joe, when I need it. So yeah, that's how I tend to overcome. I know. Usually you and Louise are a big help for me, and when I have a failure, you guys usually pull me out of it.
So taking it then from maybe when things weren't quite the way that you would have them, and taking it to the high point, what's been the best part of your journey so far?
Oh, the best point. There's been so many boxes ticked for high points along this journey. The main one is I am still open. Like when I walk in that shop and I'm still open, that is a massive high point for me. I think, God, the really successful trunk shows that I've had have been so good. It's so nerve-wracking when you organise something and you're like, are people going to turn up? What are they going to think? Is the person going to want to come back? And I think that when they're successful, like the Ripples Craft one that was last not Saturday past, but Saturday before. It was so successful. It was so fantastic, and we had Nick from Yarns from the Play, and hers was really good too. So I think organising these things that have done really well are definite high points for me. Me and Stephen West at Edinburgh Yarn Festival is definitely up there though. He fondled me. He touched my top. Like that is a serious high point in my book. And also Mary Jane Muckleston visited my shop last weekend, which was quite exciting. Went out for pizza with her. I fangirled quite a lot. But I still fangirl when Karina Westerman comes in the shop, so you know, bit of a child. But yeah, a high point for me, definitely still being open. Website. Launching the website. God, I should really talk about that, shouldn't I? That has been a big high point that we redid the website. My other half helped me a lot. He's quite a good guy, really. When that was done and launched, and people were buying things from it, that was so exciting. Mark kept screaming at me because for some reason his email address is hooked up to the website, and he was like, "You've got another order," and he'd run through it like 1 a.m. while he's playing his PlayStation, going, "You've got another order," and I'm like, "Be quiet, I need to sleep." But that was very exciting. When he wakes up at 6 a.m, he's like, "You've got 3 orders." I'm like, okay, stop it. So yeah, definite high points.
Perfect. So, which one thing that you know now did you wish you had known when you picked up the first ball of yarn?
That you shouldn't really attempt mohair and lace as your second project ever. My first project was a pair of gloves that I decided to put some intarsia on the back of. Yeah, they were terrible. But my second project, I had this beautiful white mohair with speckles of colour on it, and I really wanted to do an Ishbel. And the centre section went fine, but as soon as I hit that lace, oh my word, that was, yeah, that sat half finished in the drawer until about February this year. It was pretty terrible. But yeah, don't do that. Second thing, I didn't know until Claire Devine pointed it out that I knit backwards. Well, knit squint. I knit through the back loop all the time. So my knitting was stupid, which I've now corrected. But I did wonder why people were always going, "Oh, that stitch looks funny. What did you do?" And I'm like, "Just knitting it. I don't know." So I wish somebody had told me when I had started knitting that I was doing it wrong and it hadn't gone like 10 years of doing it wrong. I suppose it's not wrong, just different. But yeah, wrong. Let's call it wrong. So yeah.
Cool. Okay. So I'm assuming I'm gonna go out there and say that this is probably not going to be answered by the word mohair, or indeed lace weight. But desert island skeins. If you were going to be marooned on a desert island and could only take one skein or ball of yarn, what would you take and why?
So I have written down in massive letters, Easy Knits, Deeply Wicked, because I love John. End of story. No, I love Easy Knits. It's so pretty. If I would just sit and hug it, I don't think I would knit with it. I would just look at it. That would be me. I'd be happy. Yeah. I should probably be practical and like take something that's like 1,000,000 meters or something that can make a fishing net or something. But no, just a skein of Easy Knits, Deeply Wicked will be fine. Yeah.
Cool. Now I can roll with that. You know, some people are super practical, but I've been waiting for someone just to go, I'll just take something beautiful and look at it, because I'm going to be stuck there for a long time with nothing to do. Just got to look at it.
Exactly. I mean, you could make yarn out of palm leaves, or you could have practical stuff. I've watched Bear Grylls. You don't need yarn to be practical. Yarn needs to be pretty. So I would take something pretty for sure.
I like that. I'm probably going to quote you on it. You don't need yarn to be practical. You need yarn to be pretty.
Exactly. You do not need practical yarn. That is not why we're in this business.
This is true. This is true. So what is your favourite or go-to resource for yarn craft or for business that you couldn't do without?
Oh, I have a massive list. So my yarn craft would be Ravelry. Do you know what? It was one of the other reasons that I started knitting. I can't remember what it was. I think I was on a quilting board and online, and somebody had mentioned this Ravelry thing about knitting, and I went on. I wasn't one of the like early subscribers, but I did go on while you still had to be invited.
Oh, wow.
I know, right?
You're old school.
I know. I really get addicted with these things like Pinterest, and I find out these things and I'm like, I have to be involved. I have to be on it. Yeah. But yeah, so Ravelry for sure. Like I send all new people to that. It's my, I don't know. That's my go-to. For business, which I think is more about me, I have to say my hive mind, which would be you and Lee's pants. You guys are forever my source of inspiration, butt kicking, and good advice. Yeah, Mark, my other half, he's very good. He's another one for kicking my butt in place with the business stuff and being sensible when I'm just like, oh, buy all the pretty yarn, and he's like, no, you need to pay your electric bill first, and I'm like, but pretty yarn. And for starting up, for anybody else that's thinking about starting up, the Business Gateway was fab. I've heard horror stories, but my mentor at the Business Gateway was amazing. She still is. I can still drop her an email now and again being like, Lynn, help me. What have I done wrong? Or, how do I do this? And she's like, fires me back an email. So she's good. And lastly, I think like my network around me, really. I mean, I have met some fab people doing this and they are just great. It's great that you can. I was saying to Mark the other day that I'm sitting asking Karina Westerman business advice. Like, I never thought that would be something I would ever be able to do. But yeah, being able to speak to people like friends, because they are friends, and digging myself in a big hole here. But yeah.
You are hilarious. And for those of you who are listening in places outside of Scotland, Business Gateway is a government-run business startup advice. They do training and stuff, and will help you if you want to start a business. And they still have Business Gateway shops in Scotland, unlike England, which I think is all online now. Because they're
really?
a bit cheap. Yeah, Business Link, yeah, it all went online. Yeah, it is rubbish. 'Cause you want to go in and see someone, don't you, if you're going to go in? I think.
I got so many free pens from them.
It's all about the free pens.
I'm all about the free pens.
All about the free pens, especially if you get a free highlighter. That's always.
Oh, I don't get a highlighter.
Let's get something special then. I got a free highlighter, and they had 5 colours of it back when Labour were in charge and there was loads of money being thrown around. I went to a business startup thing in Hull when I was just a entrepreneur, and I got a 5-coloured flower-shaped highlighter from the Institute of Chartered Accountants. I still use it now. It's in my notions bag. There you go, little known fact. Where is the best place for the listeners to come find you?
Well, I'd have to say Dundee, obviously. Up on the Blackness Road, not far from the fire station, 164. But if you can't visit in person, I've just launched my new website. So it's www.fluph, F-L-U-P-H, because we like to be awkward, .co.uk. Mark's got to get the blame for that one for sure. And I'm on all the social media under Fluph Shop. You can find me on everything. If you want, I think Instagram's my go-to. However, I do love taking pictures, especially of my dogs. So, yeah, find me on all of those. Instagram, Twitter, Periscope. I was going to say Fluffscope there. Fluffscope. And Facebook, yeah.
You are on Periscope as Fluph Shop as well?
I am on Periscope as Fluph Shop. I get a little bit intimidated with Periscope, so...
Oh, your Periscopes were awesome. It's like being back in the shop again. It's amazing. I love it.
Well, you like it. I find it terrifying.
Oh no, but I like watching yours. I don't actually like doing them.
Just like watching yours. Yours are very good. I'd rather watch than me. I never know what to say. For somebody that can talk a lot when I do these things, I don't know what to say.
Speaking of things to say, have you got any parting words for those who would like to get into the industry?
Do you know what? I know a lot of people have said this on your podcast, but just do it. Just get it done. Just go for it. If you want to do it, just do it. And do your best at it. You should always give everything your best. And if you've done your best, that's all you can do, as my dad always says. So yeah, just do it. Definitely.
Cool. So let's get excited now. What is next for Fluph?
Oh, what's next for Fluph? Oh, getting to the gym in the morning for sure. That's my main goal. No, what's next? Oh, I would love to have a stall at Edinburgh Yarn Festival. I think that's my next goal. Apart from that, staying open, getting new things in. I've got a new Dundee dyer in called Rusty Ferret, which is all sold out, so you're going to have to wait for the next batch, sorry.
I know, I didn't even get any of that. It's very disappointing.
You were too slow.
I was snoozing.
Yeah, that's a really hard question. What's next for my business? I don't know. Just get there. Get the door open tomorrow morning. That's my next goal.
So, Leona, you very kindly offered to sponsor a giveaway for the podcast.
I did! Huzzah!
Would you like to tell us about it?
Oh, yeah. So I would like to give away a skein of Rusty Ferret Brood Figurders. It's this neon orange yarn, which in Dundee is, I don't know, it depends what football team you support. Dundee United is orange, tangerine and black. So everybody's like, is that Dundee United? And I'm like, no, it's Iron Brew. Yeah, so a skein of that. It's a sock weight yarn, 75/25 superwash wool, and a Fluff project bag because everybody loves them. And I want photos of it on its travels. If anybody's got a Fluff project bag, I want pictures of it on its travels. Where do these project bags go? Who knows?
Well, mine's in my bedroom with my Shawl of Awesome in it, because only the very best project bag could have that, and it's flocked, so there's texture to feel on the Fluff logo, which really pleases me knowing. I do.
Would you like a flocked one?
I've got a flocked one.
No, but would you like the giveaway to want to be a flocked one?
It's up to you. You can have whatever kind you like.
Well, we'll make it flocked.
Yeah, make it flocked. You're going right there. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. So
I'm gonna get glitter ones next.
Don't, you're killing me.
That's what's next for my business. I'm getting glitter project bags.
So if you'd like to be in with a chance to win a skein of Rusty Ferret yarn in the Brood Figurders, I wish I could say that. How good was it when Leona said it? Brood Figurders. I haven't got the R's. Like murder. So mental. I'm half Scottish, you know. I should be able to say this stuff. If you would like to be in for the chance, stop laughing. I know you're laughing at me, you Scottish people. If you'd like to be in with a chance to win a skein of Brood Figurders and a project bag from Fluph, no doubt by Leona's very own fair hands, and the Rusty Ferret yarn, which is a local Dundee dyer, head on over to the group on Ravelry and let me know what crazy Scottish thing, because Iron Brew is definitely in that category of crazy and Scottish. I think he's banned in Canada or something. It's certainly banned in some countries because it's like cray juice. What crazy Scottish thing would you like to see made into a yarn colourway? So head on over to the group on Ravelry and post that in the thread. I'll be opening that up soon, and you will be entered into a prize draw to be selected by the random number generator of good fortune to win a skein of yarn and the project bag. So thank you, a huge thank you to Leona for coming onto the show and making us all laugh, basically giving us all a good giggle and telling us all about her journey from forensic psychobiology to wool shop owner. Well, I'm afraid that is all we have time for this episode. A huge thank you to everyone for listening and sticking it out till the end. I hope any new listeners have enjoyed a bit of a canter with us through this episode. Don't forget, please, to go on over to the website www.shinybees.com and to click through to register your vote for the UK Podcasters Award. And feel free, please, friends, to banter me at every opportunity to make sure that I do indeed get the Shawl of Awesome complete on time. So all that remains for me to say is I hope you all have a wonderful week. Thank you very much for listening. Happy crafting, and I will speak to you all again soon. Bye. You've been listening to the Shiny Bees podcast, a podcast for those who like their knitting, comedy and yarn in equally large measures. If you'd like to get in contact with me, you can do so via the blog, or I'm Shiny Bees on Ravelry, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest and Facebook. You can email me at shinybeesinfo@gmail.com. Music for this episode is provided by Music Alley, and it is Adam and the Water Boys and I Need a Drink.
I need a drink.